Good morning. Hey Nicola, how are you doing? Alrighty. Testing a couple of things. Okay, good morning. So hope you're all well. Hey Nicola, hey Diana, hope you're well. How are you doing? Hey Jimmy, good to see you. TradingView seems to be streaming okay today. So we're on TradingView, we're on YouTube, trading.live, and also first time on TikTok. So for anyone else who's joining us on TikTok, do drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're here, let me know that you're joining us. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, everything seems to be working good. I am super happy, Diana. Well, I'm a little bit unhappy because we missed out on the full move of the US yen, but can't argue with 80 pips overnight. So, or 80 pips at the start of the day. So yeah, super happy. Looking forward to the next, well, looking forward to today. Well, the trades that's coming up, possible trades coming up today. Nicola is really good. Just passed your first evaluation on the US yen with very good percentage. Well done. Congrats on passing the evaluation. Next step. Hey, the next step is always the most important one. So keep it steady. Keep doing what you've been doing that got you to pass the first time around. Don't rush it. You know, it's a long play. I don't know which platform, which prop trading firm you're with, but I think most of it does not have a time limit anymore, so don't feel like you have to rush that. I just realized that my camera is not working. That's odd. Why is that not there? Okay, might be because I'm using it on the other platform. Let me just change something around if I can. How do I change this? Give me a second, guys. Need to just figure this one out. Okay. There we go. Oh, now it doesn't work. Okay. It looks like I might need 3. If I'm going to stream on 3 different platforms, it looks like I need 3 different cameras. Or 3 different cameras. Let's see. Give me one more chance to try and fix it. Nope, not working. All right. Let's see. Okay. I think that works. I think I've disappeared on, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that I blame them, but it's possibly one of the reasons. Okay, I'm still missing on this. Where am I? Let me try one more thing to fix. Nope, not working. Oh, wait. Okay, there we are. Alrighty. Business as usual, hopefully. Hey D-Train, how are you doing? Let's see, I missed out some messages. Okay, hey Pips Apprentice, how are you doing? Hey David. Diana didn't catch the US yen but caught the Swiss yen. We'll look at that later. Hey Ted, how are you doing? Good one, Nicola. Congrats. All these updates and change of settings. Yeah, I mean, I'm messing it up myself. I'm just adding more stuff, so I'm just messing stuff up. So I can't blame them for that. I just need to get better at sorting things out. And good morning, Ayakame. How are you doing? It feels like it's been a long time. So, okay, good to see everyone again. Let me just make sure that it's up. Okay. Yeah, D-Train, sorry about that. I need another webcam because I'm streaming on TikTok as well, so it's just conflicting with a few different webcams. Okay, but I'm still here. You can still hear me. Let's keep going. So welcome to the Daily Market Analysis. If you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. For all the regulars, welcome back, passing your prop challenge, your evaluations, making good profits hopefully as well for everyone else. Do help me out. Wherever you are watching from, do click that like and subscribe button. That would help massively. If you do have any questions at any point in time, please feel free, put it into the chat and let me know. And hey, Sun W, how you doing? And ViXP, how are you doing? Long time no see. All right, so a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. So please remember that your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. All right. Hey Mike, how are you doing on TikTok? Yes, the camera is working on TikTok because I had to disable it, unfortunately, for trading view, and then put it, enable it on Discord, on TikTok, right? So first time streaming there, so do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button. It would help massively. And if you haven't already, the link for the Discord channel is there. Do make sure you join us on Discord. That's where we can take our discussions beyond this market analysis. I do update quite a bit in terms of where I enter trades, where I'm getting out of trades, why I get out of trades, review or readjustments of any trade ideas that we discuss during this analysis. Okay, so what has happened since the last time we spoke? Nothing much, nothing much, all right? We had the Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking. We had the ADP non-farm employment change. A little bit of a surprise here. It was 113K, expected 131, came out at 103, right? But if you looked at the dollar index at 915, right at about that time, we saw that push down, which actually fit with our analysis that it was going to fluctuate or consolidate along this point, right? No big change in the direction. It only went from 104.06 down to 103.88 and then bounced right back up again, right? So despite ADP non-farm employment change number being worse than expected, a lot worse than expected, and slightly worse than previous, we only saw a brief drop on the dollar index before pushing back up again. And then, with no surprise, last night we saw the Bank of Canada holding rates at 5%, right? Holding rates at 5%. In terms of the statement, wasn't any big surprise here. It holds rates, once more progress on inflation, retains a slightly hawkish bias, which is why we saw on the CAD at 11, right? We saw that push down, but didn't break that support. And because the dollar index was pushing to the upside, we saw the US CAD push higher. Okay, so that's what happened since the last time we spoke last night. But many of our trade setups did do quite well, right? And I'll show you that shortly as we go through the trade setups. For today, what to do? Nothing much for now, right? Nothing much for now. You see that for now we do have the French trade balance, foreign currency reserves for the Swiss, Italian industrial production, final employment numbers, Italian retail sales, revised GDP for the Eurozone. All these not going to move prices too much. Right now the focus is shifting, not for today, but shifting towards tomorrow's big news event, which is the non-farm employment change number. Again, like I say every month, the ADP non-farm is not a direct indicator of the non-farm employment change number on Friday, right? ADP is released on Wednesday night. You get a bit of a break on Thursday. On Friday, the non-farm, the first Friday of the month, the non-farm gets released. It's not a very good indication of the non-farm number, but non-farm we're looking at 150 to 185. All right, and if I scroll back to Tuesday, you'd also see that, wait, that's too far. One back, two back. Okay, the JOLTS kind of aligns with the ADP, right? JOLTS went from 9.35 mil down to 8.73. Jobs openings getting lesser, which also led to the ADP going from 106 to 103. So now looking at the non-farm for tomorrow, we might not be looking at a clear 185 or beyond, maybe slightly below. I'm thinking maybe about a 170 something or 160 something. So maybe still better than previous, but a little bit less than forecasted. Okay, but that's for tomorrow. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. See how price develops in the lead up to the non-farm payrolls. So what to look out for today? Nothing much. We're looking for some continuation of the trend. With the unemployment claims, this is a weekly number for the US, 218K to 221. Might be around that number, but we're not going to see big price movements there because it is a weekly number. Okay, any questions so far? Put it into the chat, let me know. All right, and also VXP took a long rest. Well, good that you had your rest, you're back. Hey Etir, hey Goju, how you doing? Okay, what was I going to say? That's it. Okay, then now looking at the dollar index. Okay, this is the dollar index. We still have that upward channel on the dollar index right now. Hey Christina, how are you doing? It did consolidate. It pushed up to that 104.25 level to test that point. Tested 104.25. Couldn't break that. Now retracing back down. So this is quite an important level. Confluence between that 38.2 from the longer term and that 50% Fib retracement level from the shorter term. That confluence, we see that retrace back down. So take that away and we can take that Fib level a little bit higher, right? And just to look at this, we can see now at this point 104 has turned from a resistance to a support level, right? To a support level. Generally, what we're looking at here is that the dollar index could come, since it's retracing a little bit, might test this level and then bounce back up again. All right, test this level and bounce back up again. But because we always, okay, so one tip is that you would always expect a support level to be supported or expect a resistance level to be resisted, or a price to be resisted at a resistance level or to be supported at a support level. We don't try and plan or try and gamble that it would break. Okay, so the current view is that it could come down here, test, and bounce back up. But we look at scenarios if what happens if it does break down. I'm not looking for any move to the downside on the dollar index unless it breaks below that point, that 23.6 fib retracement level, which is also that 103.80 level. Right, so most likely you're going to consolidate along this point. It is retracing back down now as we speak. So what I'm going to say here is dollar index today is the 7th. Diana says if it holds the imbalance level, so it might go up again as yesterday 103.80. Yeah, there you have it exactly. So 103.80, it might come down, it might test this level and bounce back up. All right, if we did our trend line, our channel a little bit more precisely, catching the tails here and the tail here, you would see that it coincides with that 23.6 level and also the bottom of that channel. Okay, so we're looking at that range to test and bounce back up. So that makes sense. I can move this channel a little bit higher there. Okay, so what I'm looking for here in this case is today being the 7th of December, we're looking for the dollar index right now retracing, could test 103.80 and then consolidate, but we're still looking for it to bounce to test 104.25 with resistance at 104.55. Okay, so the idea on the chart would be that we're looking for it to come down, test around this level, bottom of the channel, then bounce back up towards that 104.25 and possibly even that 104.55 resistance level. Okay, so short-term weakness, don't get over and excited with that weakness on the dollar right now. We're looking at, you know, the medium-term trend being to the upside, so we're looking for it to bounce back up. We're looking for more dollar strength scenarios. So look for the retracement to complete, then look for the dollar strength. Diana says look at RSI 2 moving down, crossing. I think you mean it on the daily time frame. No, on the H1, it is pushing down. We could see it push down to that point and bounce, push down a little bit lower and bounce as well. That's fine. So if I did a vertical line, you would see something quite similar here, right? At that point where it comes down, test, a couple of candles later, test that level and bounce back up. So we're looking for something similar to that, to this scenario here, right? Where it comes down, test, and then bounces back up. Referring to the daily time frame, it is testing and pushing back down a bit. I think it might come down a little bit. Yeah, so it might come down a little bit before pushing back up. I am going to be preparing a scenario where we're looking at that dollar strength pushing back up, and also what if it breaks below 23.6 to get down to maybe even that 50% or that 38.2% level. Okay, so we do have some scenarios there to play out for the dollar index. It does look like quite a strong drop, but as we all know, through the many months that we've been doing our stream at 3 o'clock, sometimes at 3 o'clock it drops quite strongly and then it bounces right back up again, right? This was yesterday at 3, right? We saw that push, we saw that drop and then bounce right back up. So we're going to wait and see what happens here on the dollar index. Then with that, looking at the Kiwi dollar, right? So that pushed down. I didn't get onto the Kiwi trade. I was on the Aussie trade. I was on the yen trade. So I was a little bit distracted on the other trade. So not looking at the Kiwi. So I did not get into that. I know a couple of members who did get onto that. Don't know whether they got out, but it would have bounced back up. They hit a stop loss if they did get into that and left it. All right. With that, now 61.8, that level I would say has broken, but we can revise that down to that point. All right. No, I wouldn't want that. Okay, I would consider this whole thing as a bit of a support now. Right, I'll consider this whole thing as a little bit of a support now. So remember that we're anticipating a little bit of a dollar weakness right now before possibly that dollar strength to come back into play. All right, and yeah, just looking at that, a serious consideration could be that it does break and trace all the way back down. So we'll look out for that as well. Kiwi dollar right now bouncing back up. It would be a little bit too late to try and get into this trade back up. Okay, why I say that is because if you're looking to buy at about 6145, your stop loss would be a good 30 pips, and your take profit, while it could be 60-70 pips to the upside, there are many levels there that could interfere with how the trade runs to the upside. Okay, so I would in fact just say no, maybe not look for that. I'll look for a reversal, right, for the dollar strength to come back into play. This one I would change to a dotted level. Okay, we have that, we'll keep. We have that, we'll keep. We have this point. Okay, so I'll change that to a dotted level. What I would be looking out for here on the Kiwi would be for it to do that and turn back down again. Break that support to turn lower. I'll be looking to sell down 6110, stop loss about 20 pips, take profit could go down to 60 to the downside, with a little bit of a hesitation possibly at about that 6085 level. Okay, so on the Kiwi dollar, we did nothing yesterday, but we're looking to sell at 0.6110, stop loss 20, take profit 60, with a hesitation at 0.61 or 6085, which is still a good 1 to 1. Then you can look for that further downside 1 to 2, 6085. There we have it. Prince Philip OG, how are you doing? Do you factor seasonality into your trading? I factor seasonality in the idea of liquidity and in the idea of trade volume, not so much in anticipating that sell in May go away or December is going to rally, that kind of seasonality. But I do anticipate that with Christmas coming up, it's going to be slow. On the Easter period, it's going to be slow. Thanksgiving, Good Friday, Thanksgiving and Black Friday is going to be slow. That kind of seasonality I do anticipate. Hey Angel Case, hey Spiros, how are you doing? So we're looking for that. Okay. Then on to the Aussie dollar. Okay. Aussie dollar did well on that. It did drop that 50 pip to the downside as we had anticipated. I did update this on Discord thinking if it breaks that support, we could look for further downside. It hasn't done that. Now bouncing back up a little bit. I got out early on this. I got out about 40, I think about 40 pips on the, yeah, about that point, 40 pips on the Aussie, right? But it did come down and hit our take profit at 50. Hit our take profit, and you see there, right as it hit our take profit, it bounced right back up, right? This was 50 pips we spoke about yesterday. So right as it hit our take profit, it bounced right back up. Now, again, very similar to the Kiwi dollar, it's bouncing back up. All right, bouncing off the support, back up. In this case here, I would be actually looking now if we see that dollar weakness scenario, right? If it does come down and break that 23.6 level and trade to the downside, right? This is the alternate scenario that it breaks the channel back down. Then we could be looking with that 38.2 level. I would be looking here to say, all right, can it break through 0.66? Because it's a nice round number there, I'll look for 6610. Stop loss about 25 pips, take profit back up to 60 pips to the upside. Okay, so I'm looking for that. If we see that dollar weakness continue, push back up past 38.2, break up to 0.66 and then to the upside. So we'll look for that one. Looking to buy 0.6610, stop loss. What was it? 25 to 60. Okay. 6610, stop loss 25. Take profit 60 to the upside. Okay, hang on, let me answer a message there. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so did that, take that away, 60. Buy 6610, upside bounce. Okay, we'll look for that. I think as much as I'm planning for, you know, a scenario of that case, I think that it's more likely that we're going to see that test and bounce. Okay, so I would rank the Kiwi as a retrace and breakdown a little bit more, a little bit higher and more likely than compared to the Aussie pushing significantly higher. Then now on to the yen. This is so annoying, but it makes it so much easier right now. Yen, we had that perfect trade set up. I got out at about, I can't remember how many pips there, but right about that point, about 40, I think, 40 or 50 pips. And then it pushed right, I think 40 pips, and then it pushed right down to our take profit level at about 90 pips. Right, I did a revision. This was what we spoke about yesterday, but I did a revision after the session as we saw the yen bounce up. So that was a good 90 something pip move. Got out a little bit too early, a bit annoyed, but now we're looking at the yen, the dollar yen pushing down, breaking through that support level of 146. Right, 146, nice round number. You see now though that it is outside of the Bollinger Band. Right, zoom in a little bit, you can see it's right outside the Bollinger Band. In 30 minutes when the hour closes, if it does stay outside the Bollinger Band, I would anticipate a little bit of a bounce before maybe a continuation back down again. Okay, a bit of a bounce before continuation back down again. Why is there such a big move on the yen? I believe that it's because of the headliner here that Governor Ueda said my explanation of monetary policy to PM Kishida included wage hike outlook for next year, right? A wage hike outlook for next year. So that's one factor. And also that it says, no, not that one. Where was the other headliner I saw? I saw that this morning. There we go. Right? Governor Ueda still not seeing certainty of achieving its inflation goal. So it's going to keep easy policy patiently to support wage gains. Still not seeing certainty of achieving inflation goal. Inflation pace likely to slow in 2025. Economy likely to continue moderate recovery. Yes, Diana, so you're right. It is due to some positive yen news. A little bit of a hawkish view from the governor. That's why we are seeing the dollar yen push, the yen strength come back slightly into play, pushing to the downside. But remember, 146 is a very key support level, which we saw it test. Looked like it was going to break, test, and then bounce right back up again. Right? And if you put in that level there, you see it comes close to being outside and bounce right back up. This point here we saw in September was the start of a massive rally to the upside on the US yen. So just be careful at this point. This was a small rally to the upside. You'll see that it bounced off 146 and went within that channel all the way up to 150. Okay, so now it's come right back down again to 146. It looks like it's breaking. I would say look for that candle to close, possibly retrace a little bit, or if it should retrace a little bit, then I would say look for it to maybe continue to the downside. Right, dollar is still sitting there. We have 30 minutes to go. That could push down. We're looking at this point, and this again might come to the point where you could have, I know many of you would like this, is you might have a straddle here. All right, 145.80. I will look at Swiss yen. Stop loss about 30 pips. Take profit a good 115 to the downside. That's going to rank quite highly on my list here for the yen. Propping up because I'm getting excited now. Or you could be looking for it to bounce. I'm actually thinking it's going to go down more. I think that would be an off chance that it does this. 30 pip, 100 pips to the upside, back up again. Right, we might have a straddle, but I'm thinking more to the downside. It's really pushing down right now. Way outside the Bollinger, it should bounce. Right, so don't rush into the yen. I wouldn't rush into the yen right now. I'm anticipating a bounce. If it does not bounce, or if it continues trading to the downside, then maybe you would go onto the smaller time frame and trade it down. But what I'm looking at, I'm thinking that it could bounce back up. Right? Or if you want to take a risk, then you have a wider stop because there's 115 to the downside. But we'll look for a retracement on the yen. So we'll look for retracement, then we'll sell at at 145.80, stop loss 30, take profit 115 to the downside. Okay, so look for it to bounce, sell down 145.80, 30 to 115. Does that make sense? Let me know if it's all good. Again, remember, if you can help me out massively, do click that like and subscribe button on whichever platform you are watching on right now. That would help massively. Then on to pound dollar. Take that away. Right, pound dollar. Yesterday we were talking about a straddle, breaking that support to the downside. We came down, but not the full 50. It only got to about 30 pips to the downside. Did not push up, so we'll take that one away. Take all that away actually for now. All right. Now with that move down, you see that we have that. Put in our levels. And you see that for this short-term move to the downside, it is now retracing back towards that 23.6 support turned resistance level. Right? That 23.6 support turned resistance level. Looking at the dollar, thinking that it could consolidate before bouncing, what we would be looking for, I was going to say, I tell you what, I was going to say that we were looking for it to test and reject and sell down and do that trade. Right? I was going to say, okay, that's what I'm going to look for, a test, reject, and sell down. But if you think about it, you look at this pound dollar on a big upward push. Right? It came down, tested 50, or broke 50, so that's actually irrelevant now. It came to about that 61 range, and then now bouncing back up. So what I'm actually thinking here, if as a possibility, right, on the dollar weakness scenario, is that if it does break above that resistance, above that near-term resistance, could we be looking to buy it up? 1.2615, stop loss 30 pips, take profit back up to this point, which is about 40 pips. Not great. We take a bit of a risk on this. 1.26, above 1.26, 1.2605. Quite close, so that momentum is going to push up 20 pips to 50 pips to the upside to that 61.8 level. That could work. Right, we're looking for that, so that's a retracement back up again with this 61.8 level there. So push back up. I would consider this as a possible dollar weakness scenario. So again, looking at this, we have this as dollar, well, we have the Kiwi on dollar strength, a bounce back up. Aussie as a possible dollar weakness scenario. Yen looking like it's running a zone, but maybe that dollar weakness scenario to continue. Pound dollar, I'm thinking that we might see that as a weakness scenario. Right, a breakdown, and it looks like it might actually with that strength. So now we're looking at pound dollar to possibly buy at 1.2605, stop loss about 20 pips, take profit about 50 pips to the upside, and that would be on a dollar weakness scenario. Okay, we'll keep that there, but for sure when we look at the euro dollar, so a little bit different here. You see that euro dollar has been falling a great deal. All right, we don't need that. We'll keep that there. We don't really need it. We take that one away. And you see that the euro dollar, as much as it's been dropping, it's only showing a small bounce right now. In this case, I would actually keep this view on the euro. Move it a bit nearer because it is retracing 1.0750, no, 1.0745. I'll still keep it at that point. I don't want it too near. Stop loss 20, take profit 85 to the downside. Yeah, where's Jamil? So I'll still do that. I'll keep that view on the euro dollar to sell on the dollar strength scenario. So it bounces back up 1.0745, stop loss 20, take profit 85 to the downside for the euro dollar. And you know what? The more I look at this, the more I'm thinking of a possibility that the dollar index could actually push to the downside. Right? I'm thinking of the greater possibility that that could happen. Right? So this is the trend following scenario, and that's a break of the channel of the 23.6 level to push down. We'll watch out for that. Okay, any updates I'll let you know on Discord as well, so do make sure you join the Discord channel if you haven't already. Then now let's see, give me a second, I'll check this. No point, I wouldn't find a level here, right? So that's back to the resistance. I don't see that. What about a short-term move on the euro to the downside, now approaching that 23.6 level, putting a few more levels there. 50 is right there. So I do think that it could retrace a bit more and push down. It would be a bit too aggressive to try and sell down. You could look to sell down in the middle here. Right, say for example it comes up to 50 and test and reject. You could look to sell down earlier, but I say the safer option would be to sell down at 1.0745. Okay, cool. Then on to the Swiss. Right, Swiss, we were looking for it to break down. That trend line is holding quite well. Okay, and drawing the trend line properly, you'd see that it's actually still holding quite well. We're catching these levels here, catching the bodies here, and it is pushing down. Why? It's driven down by that weakness on the dollar. I'm trying to find out, is there any big reason why? Dollar firm, euro at 3-week lows as rate cut bets hard rises. We know that. No big reason. I want to see what happens here. I want to see what happens here because we do have that equal low there. So it might come down, test, and then push back up. We'll need this candle to close out before we really get a good view of where prices could go towards. All right. US yen down equals US weak, US pairs up, but for how long? Yeah, it's right now is all a bit of a retracement, so just be super careful about that. But we are looking at what happens here first. Okay, so Swiss, I would say that it could maintain. Foreign reserve is not going to do too much on that. All right, so coming back to the Swiss, drop, break to the downside, that would make sense. Can it bounce? 61.8 there, so you would only be, if you were looking to buy this up, you would only be looking to buy above that point. Stop loss tight, no more than 15, take profit, 50 pips to the upside, but I'll maintain this view. 8730, stop loss 25, take profit 45 to the downside. 8730, yeah, 8730. stop loss 25, take profit 45. Okay, stop loss 25, take profit 45. So I'm just super interested in what's going to happen here. Drop and bounce, drop and retrace or breakthrough. I'm anticipating a bounce, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, then looking at the Swiss, thinking that it might trade down, maybe some strength on the Swiss franc, and looking at the US yen trading to the downside, might be able to, looking for it to bounce, but if it doesn't, then we might revise that entry to the downside. We'll have a look at that later. Looking at the Swiss yen, that did quite well for us. I think Diana caught that. A good 80 pip move to the downside. Should have told me that. It's not something I watch constantly. So you should have told me that on the Swiss yen. I would have loved to jump into that trade on the Discord channel. Okay, so now at this point, good job there on the Swiss yen. Way outside the Bollinger. That is now a resistance. We're at that equal low here, so watch out for that point. I would be anticipating a bit more downside. Right, we're talking about the Swiss pushing down, Swiss dollar, the Swiss pushing down. We're looking about the yen pushing down, but remember, I'm looking at that to maybe bounce a little bit. It looks like it's pushing down all the way. I want to end this stream. I want to start trading right now. Okay, so that's pushing down. What we could be looking out for here in the next 14, 15 minutes is a bit of a bounce and then a back down again. All right, and the safer option would be for it to bounce back and look to sell. You can be looking for more downside. 166.50, no, it's coming there. 166.45. Stop loss tight 20, no more than 20 pips. No more than 25, 20 pips. Take profit 55 to the downside. We have this point here. You could go as low as that point, which would mean that your take profit will be about 70 pips to the downside. Hey Jamil, how you doing? We were just talking about you. We were just, thinking what would be your view on the pound dollar. So for the Swiss yen, might not bounce, but I'm still anticipating a bounce. But still looking at more downside. 166 even 160.40, 30 pip stop, 65 pip take to the downside. Okay. Then via XP with the pound yen and Sun W with the euro yen. We'll do that as well. So remember, pound dollar, we're looking for that bounce, maybe a bit of a push to the upside. US yen still trading lower. Looking at the pound yen in this case, pushing right down. So ignoring that potential strength on the pound dollar to push lower right now on the pound yen. This is all based on the yen, the dollar yen moving to the downside, that strength of the yen. Okay, so what I would be looking out for is a reaction along this level at 182.94 or 183. Okay, and you can see why I'm looking at that point is because of what happened here in November, where I found this level and bounced. Beyond this point, if it does drop, then the next level would be right there at 180 or 181. right at 181 right there. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is I do like a continuation to the downside, but what worries me is that potential strength of the pound dollar pushing back up. Okay, so with the pound yen, what I'm possibly anticipating is that at this support level we might see some increased volume in a bounce, right? A bounce back up. So I would be in this case looking for a bit of a bounce and then a continuation back down, only if it breaks below 182.70. Stop loss about 40 pips is quite wide. Take profit, you can go massive to 150, 160 to the downside there on the pound yen. Okay. Jamil trading very well. Good job, Jamil. 4 trades, 3 wins, 140 pips profit with 18 pips loss. Very good job. I'll give you a virtual high five. Okay, so that's the pound yen. Looking for it to, yeah, it's bouncing back a bit now. And then after that, trade down. Only if it breaks the support of 183. Wait a bit more, 182.65. Sell it down. 40 pip stop, 150 pip take profit to the downside. Then on to Sun W's question on the euro yen. Again, more downside, right? It's straightforward. Just look at the chart. We know that on a trend following scenario, we're looking at more downside. Euro dollar, we're talking about more downside on the euro, more downside on the US yen. Needs to break that support at 157, which we see here. I would put that as a bit of a stronger support level. Then what I would be looking out for here would be 156.80. So a bit of a bounce again. Stop loss quite tight. Ooh, quite wide actually. Stop loss, I would keep it at 40. Take profit will be about 100 pips to the downside. So it's bouncing back right now. We are 8 minutes away from the hour close. It's way outside Bollinger, so I'm looking for it to bounce back up a little bit before pushing back down. Maybe we can even consider 156.90. Stop loss about 40 pips. Take profit 112. Okay. Hope I answered your question there via XP about the pound yen and also Sun W about the euro yen. All still looking for the downside or dependent on what the dollar index is going to do, which leads to the US yen as well. Now bouncing. I want to bounce a little bit more so I can get into that trade. All right. Prince Philip OG says, please don't end the stream, trade live with us. I get into a lot more mumbles and stuff to myself when I'm trading live, so we do live trading sometimes, so make sure you join the Discord channel if you haven't already, then you can know when we're going to do live trades. All right, so with all that, then looking at the CAD, take that away. CAD bounce right back up. You do see a little bit of somewhat of a channel there to the upside on the CAD. In this scenario, I'm looking, although the dollar index is pushing down, I'm thinking that it could be one of those that bounces off and back up. But it is right in the middle of that support and resistance level. Right, because it is right in the middle of the support and resistance level, I wouldn't do anything on the CAD right now. I would be looking for reaction along that 1.3640 resistance level. Okay, so CAD would be or the loonie would be a do nothing. Look for reaction at 1.3640 resistance. There we have it. There we have it. That's going to be really interesting. That might actually, you know, as much as we're doing all the analysis now, it might lead to some revisions later on. So I'll let you all know if I change any bias or change any views. Okay, then on to gold. On to gold. Nothing has happened on gold. So this was where we were when we spoke yesterday. This was where we were when we spoke yesterday. Hang on, let me do that. Right at that 120.34 level. 4 o'clock, it retraced back down, tested this level, held right a tight consolidation at 1.2, no, at about 20.28. So I'll maintain the view on gold that it needs to break above 20.43 before I would see a possibility of 20.70 again. Right, I'm still thinking that there might be another push to the upside on gold. I don't think that's the end of the run. I want to see it test a little bit more. That would be interesting. Okay, so I'll keep that view. Continue, well, now it's consolidating, so it's not continue rebound. Now it's consolidating. Break out above 20.43, could trade up to 20.70. I'm watching this. I am watching this. It's interesting. Any big news? Okay, while that loads, Bitcoin is still sitting at 43,900. Massive run to the upside. So still looking at potentially further upside. I think I did a analysis on that. I think I shared it with you guys about Bitcoin. Possibly if it gets past 45, it could get to that 48 level. So something to watch out for there. Right? I'm just waiting that 3 minutes to see what happens here on the dollar index, just in case we need to change anything straight away. And while I have all of you here, I again ask for a massive favor that you can help me out. Do jump onto this link that I'm going to be sharing in the chat. Right, do help me out. Vote for me as the Distinguished Educator Award for this trading.live session. All right, so you have to log in. You get 10 votes every day. So if you can help me out massively, log in every day. Click 10 votes for that. The link is there in the chat for you guys as well. Okay, that would help massively, together with liking and subscribing as well. Dollar index bouncing back up a little bit, still holding that point. Checking my Kiwi, retracing, looking for that to end, push back down. Aussie dollar has a long way to go if that's going to retrace all the way. Yen is retracing a little bit, might not be enough, might have to wait into the next hour. Right, because it's way outside of Bollinger, so it needs a bit of time to come back in. That's something I'll be watching very closely. Pound dollar still pushing back up, a bit more waiting to do. Euro dollar retracing, but we're looking for that continuation to the downside. And then Swiss pushing down, makes sense. CAD test. What I'm thinking is it could test and bounce, but we're looking for a reaction along that resistance level, which is quite close to that trend line, upper channel as well. Okay. Thank you, Jamil. Any questions? Thanks, Gorju. I'm still watching that. Okay, so if no other questions, and if you haven't already, help me vote, help me click the like and subscribe button, and I will see you all on Discord. I have some massive news to tell you all on Discord, and I'll also announce that tomorrow. But yeah, I'll see you on Discord, and if not, then I'll see you good news, bad news scenarios for on Discord, and also I'll see you tomorrow on the live stream again. Trade well, trade safe, and take care now. The dollar is still, yeah, still sitting around there. We'll give it a bit of time. Looks like it's going to bounce back up. Okay, take care. See you tomorrow or on Discord. Bye-bye.